Most of us can agree that 2013 was the peak of the channel The Creatures. However, in 2017, a tragic downfall would lead to the end of the beloved gaming group. This seemingly abrupt end left many fans wondering what caused this to happen and where are the members now. Being one of those previous fans, I'm here today to give you the lowdown and answer the questions. Who are the Creatures? What happened to them? And where are they now? The Creatures began forming in 2008 during the filming of Machinima series Robot Donkey Chronicles, when Jordan meets Steven, Dan, Gary, Anthony, Nick and Max, where they later on started making collabs together and began the show Creature Talks. The show slowly took off, with James being introduced to the group in 2010 and Seamus and Eddie being introduced in 2011. As they begin to gain popularity as a group, the channel The Creature Hub is created and quickly takes off. Just when all seemed promising, the first bit of drama arose, with Anthony being asked to leave the group due to feud with James. Anthony believed James thought of himself as better than the other Creatures. Gary left along with Anthony and they started their own gaming group known as the Derp Crew, and although things looked tense at the time, Anthony himself has said recently that he and James are friends today.
Stuff exploded and there's absolutely no beef between Novo. He actually reached out a week or two ago asking if I wanted to play games, and I'm sure, let me know when you're free. So no beef.
Shortly after their departure, the first Creature House was bought in Colorado in 2012. James, Seamus, Dan and Max all move in. However, Jordan opts out and chooses to only live nearby. Max becomes increasingly unhappy with the living conditions of the house, so he moves out and decides to live nearby with his girlfriend. This sparked controversy, and he was voted out of the group for his unwillingness to live in the house, despite Jordan being quite unwilling himself. Then came 2013, which was a great year for the Creatures, both content-wise and growth-wise, with the hub hitting 500,000 subscribers, and it was a relatively drama-free year. This also marks the year that Alex was introduced to the group by Eddie and hired as a cameraman, but later on made a full and official Creature.
Thank you very much. I would like to
Then what happened to mine?
I'd like to announce the new Creature.
Bottle of water!
By 2014, the Creatures had packed their things and moved out of the house and into an office. They've also welcomed aboard some new members, such as Spencer, Kevin, Intern Joe, and Dexter. This year is marked by most as the year Nick and Steven left, though it was never officially announced as Nick moved away and neither of them were really featured in content anymore. Eddie announced that he too was leaving the Creatures due to personal family issues.
Long story short, I'm retiring from the Creatures, and
this was also the year that Jordan was swatted while in the Creatures office. Despite all of this though, this was a great year for Creatures content, with James's and Alex's duo streams trending on Twitch most weeks, and their Road to E3 series became a fan favorite. By the time 2015 rolled around, things started to go a little downhill. This was the year that artists Joe, Steph and Aaron were hired as interns, but both Kevin and Seamus left due to being uncomfortable with how the group was run, and the interns began to take the spotlight in the videos, much to the dislike of the fans. They also began to do gameplay videos less and less and started ramping up their content to be more family friendly, and even started doing toy unboxings. The fans tried to tell them that this is not what they wanted, but the lack of communication between the company and the audience just left them feeling unheard and frustrated. Many people blamed Spencer for this change in content, while others blamed Jordan, saying he simply wanted to be a part of Rooster Teeth, and that's the only reason they changed up the content. And it worked. For next year, in 2016, the Creatures became an official member of the Rooster Teeth family. Tragically though, this would be the catalyst for the Creatures' downfall, as this was the year when Alex, James, Aaron and Intern Joe would all leave together to create the highly successful channel Couch Shop. You see, earlier that year, Jordan and Steph announced they were dating, despite Steph being contractually obliged against dating anyone in the office. Something in this finally made James cave. and he even labeled it the main reason he decided to leave the group. Some speculate that Steph and James had a fling and told they were not allowed to date afterwards, while others think that James had simply had enough of Jordan's bending of the rules for his own gain and of his fake on-camera personality, which was later called out by Dex. Dex also left this year as he was also fed up with Jordan and his fakeness, and due to the fact that Dan and Jordan had been censoring him in videos in order to keep up their family-friendly image. Dex said that one of the final straws for him was at E3 when Jordan booked a hotel for the two, but later on he realized it was just because he was the only one who knew about Steph and Jordan's relationship.
Like, no, I'll tell you what did it for me, where I was just like, can you not? Fucking went to E3, man, and Jordan booked a hotel room with me for some reason. I'm like, okay, like, we're cool, I guess, but we're not that cool. Like, I'd rather be with someone else, but whatever. And, he only booked it with me because I knew that him and Steph were going out. I was the only one who knew, officially, I guess. Because I wasn't a retard, and then Steph told me anyway, but... the only reason he booked the hotel room with me was so he could sneak out the hotel room and then go fuck Steph, so that pissed me off.
Alex also stated he left because he wasn't paid often and the group was beginning to start problems in his personal life.
Like, stopped asking for pay, and like I wasn't having fun. I was having like issues with my ex at the time, and it just seemed like it all became because of the creatures and whatever.
With the departure of the Couch Up Boys, a majority of the Creature fans migrated to their channel, and the views on the Creatures videos dropped dramatically, which you would think would consider the remaining Creatures to finally respond to their demands and give the people what they want, but unfortunately not. They continued to slowly but surely lose their following over the next year, and eventually Rooster Teeth put their merge on clearance and the Creatures officially ended their channel.
We are officially announcing that the Creatures are coming to an end. And
this video pissed off a lot of people, as Jordan didn't seem bothered by it at all, instead just borderline bragged about already having a new job set up. Dan, however, was distraught. So what can we gather from these events? Firstly, Jordan didn't like to bend rules at all, unless it benefited him of course. Dex commented a while after his departure that at some point everyone lost respect for Jordan, and that he had no business sense about him. Max agreed with the statement, stating that he believed that the Creatures could have been just as big as Rooster Teeth had they gotten someone in to help with the business aspect of things. Secondly, we can conclude that the problems and drama weren't entirely at fault for the group's downfall, but the lack of confrontation of these problems were. They refused to confront problems and criticism from fans, and instead they were left to fester and ate away at the strengths of the group. So guys, we did it. We know the story of these guys, and we... God fucking damn it. So we know the story of these guys, and we know what happened to them in the past. But where are they today? Well, Dan still continues to stream on Twitch and make YouTube content, though not pulling in nearly as many views as he once did. He's also been attempting voice acting as of recently. Seamus has been gone for over 2 years now, which left a lot of people genuinely questioning whether or not he was dead. However, his girlfriend, who is still an active streamer, confirms he is doing great and plans on returning at some point. Eddie is still doing his YouTube and Twitch as he did before, and although his views are definitely not what they used to be, he still has a dedicated fan base. Both Anthony and Steven are still flourishing when it comes to content creating, both uploading regularly and collaborating all the time, and are still with the Derp Crew. Max is still making gaming videos on YouTube and streaming. Artist Joe has done a few things since the Creatures, including growing and selling weed, and creating and selling blankets. I also read he was bee farming, but I didn't find any proof of this, so we're gonna sweep that in the rumor bin for now. Intern Joe continued to work for Couch Up for a while, but then left to go back to college. He also has a baby on the way who he is naming James. Not after this James though, but after his father. James and Alex are both still actively running Couch Up, which is closing in on 1 million subscribers as of now, and they both stream regularly. James uploads to his YouTube channel daily, and Alex does so occasionally. Aaron was working with Couch Up for a while, but left when offered a job for Elphonic. He still works there present day as a community manager. He also streams occasionally and still pulls a fanbase. No, not a train! Kill me. Nick still continues to stream, but like most doesn't pull the same views as he once did. Like Dan, Dex has also chosen to pursue voice acting, while also continuing to stream and make YouTube content. He's also developing a video game right now called Flapatron. Along with Aaron, Jordan is a cinematic designer at IllFonic. He hasn't streamed or uploaded to his YouTube channel since the Creatures breakup, but still has an active fanbase around his Twitter. Although Spencer occasionally uploads to YouTube, it seems to have taken a backseat. Kevin has become a player for Aura Gaming and continues to stream. Now I do realize that this video had more a negative tone to it, so to lighten things up I decided to go on to the Creatures subreddit and ask people what their favorite creatures, memories and moments were, so we can remember the creatures for what they were, a fun-loving group of friends who made people around the world laugh with their antics. Thank you for watching. Here's a funny bloop. Fuck. There we go. Perfect. Haha.